Hello and welcome to this Introduction to Blender video. We're going to have a look at how to use the mouse and the keyboard to get around Blender and how to start modeling. So let's begin. Using your mouse, you're going to right click to choose objects. Now in most programs you use the left click. In Blender you use the right click. It takes about half an hour to get used to, and once you're used to it you'll never forget it. The left mouse button, incidentally, simply moves this cursor. We're going to learn about that a lot later, so let's not worry about it right now. Using the scroll wheel on your mouse, which in most computers now counts as button 3, if you use the scroll wheel and scroll, you will zoom in and out. If you click the scroll wheel and move your mouse, you will rotate the view. Really useful. If you press Shift and middle mouse, you'll find that you can move the entire screen. Also, again, very useful. Now, when we're working in 3D, we really need to know whether we're looking at the front or the side or the top of an object. So what we've got on our keyboard is the number 1, number 3, and number 7. Number 1 is the front, number 3 is the side, number 7 is the top. Now you might notice while we're looking at this, we're not really looking at the front, but we're looking at a 3D view. Very simply, press number 5 on your keyboard, and what that will do is give you kind of a flat view. So if we go to the view number 3 now, you will see the side of the cube, and if we go to number 7, we'll see the top of the cube. They look identical, by the way. What we're going to do now is click on the cube with the right click, of course, and if we go down here where the mouse is pointing to, we're in a mode now called object mode. What that means is we're looking at an object. This is a cube. We can do things to the cube. We can move it, we can resize it, we can rotate it, but we really can't change anything about the cube. We can't change it to a pyramid. We can't do anything to it while it's in object mode. It's useful, by the way, when we've got a really complicated model. We don't want to be changing all the time. So let's move this thing. What I'm going to do is go back to view number 1. I'm going to press G, which stands for grab, and I can just move my mouse. And when I think I want to put my cube here, I left click. If I grab the cube and then change my mind, I didn't actually want to move it, I can right click on my mouse and it cancels the last thing I did. Also, if you're in the middle of doing something and realize you don't want to, press escape on your keyboard. It will also cancel it. Let's move this cube back to where it was, kind of in the middle. If we press the letter S, stands for scale, we can resize, make bigger or smaller any object. If we press R, we can rotate. So between G, S and R, we can move, resize and rotate any object. Now, on a different note, you will notice that when we click on a 3D object in Blender, we get these arrows. These arrows are used by a lot of people to help them to move objects where they want to go. And you'll notice that I'm clicking on the arrows. So right now I'm clicking on the red one, and that moves it down this line. If I click on the green one, it moves it down this line, and if I click on the blue, it moves it up and down on the blue line. I myself don't use that, but a lot of people love that. I'm going to move this back to the center. And this time we're going to talk about edit mode. So right now we're in object mode. We can't really do anything apart from move the object, resize the object, or rotate the object. But I want to actually now model the object. So I'm going to switch to edit mode. You can click on the menu here, but a much faster way would be to simply press the tab button on your keyboard. Now tab is located just above the caps lock button. Let's zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to move that view just over there. Now you'll notice when you go to edit mode, every single part of your object is chosen. Now in modeling, we like to choose which parts to model. We don't model the whole thing at once normally. So what I'm going to do is on my keyboard press the letter A. A will switch everything off or on in selection. So nothing is selected, everything is selected. So let me just deselect everything. And now using my right click, I'm going to choose point number 1. Now I'm going to press Shift on my keyboard and keep it pressed. And I'm going to choose all the other points on top. I'm going to press S on my keyboard, and I'm going to bring that square together to form a really beautiful looking pyramid. Let me undo that so that I can show you a faster way of doing that. So rather than selecting points one by one, on our keyboard we can press the letter B and draw a box around everything we want to choose. Again, I'm going to resize that until it looks like a pyramid. Let me undo that one more time. Now the letter Z or the letter Z will turn a shape from solid into see-through. Now this is really useful sometimes when you're clicking on things and you don't quite know what you've just clicked on. Pressing the letter Z will let you see through your shape so that you can tell for sure whether you've chosen the right points or whether something you're doing is actually correct. I'm going to go back to my block view, my 3D view, and what I'm going to do is again resize that. Now while we're here we can also rotate, but I'm never going to rotate while I'm looking at a 3D picture. I want to go to either view 1 or view 3, and I'm going to rotate. Now using edit mode we can control everything about a shape, so we can pick up a point, press G and move it. We can choose a number of points, press S and make them bigger or smaller, or we can choose a number of points and using the R key we can rotate them. And that, folks, is a very quick introduction into the basics of Blender.